just 6 BGVs and 4 musicians, and we started work. I mean, for those of you who know me, I'm a very thorough person. I don't play with attention to details, and so we started putting in the work. Started putting in the work. The work started to blossom. The work started to grow, and of course, 2 years later, in November 2022, we birthed Logic Sound Mainland, we birthed Logic Sound Abuja, then Logic Sound London, Logic Sound Port Harcourt, and the rest of the Logic Sound expressions. And God has helped us to humbly shape culture musically as it concerns choir music and gospel music, where choir music has evolved to. I don't think, by the grace of God, there is hardly any Sunday service that Logic Sound repertoire will not be done in the service, and it's just so humbling to see how that small thing we started has blossomed by the help of God right now, right? So I give praise to God, and I think I cannot I cannot attribute this praise to just us alone and of course to God, but I also have to honor um, my father and the Lord, Apostle Flourish Peters, the lead pastor and apostolic head global of all logic churches. Because the truth is, to a large extent, the quality of your father in the Lord or your senior pastor will often reflect in the quality of your music. Right? I'll say that again. The quality and the taste bud of your senior pastor musically would reflect in the music. So if you have a pastor who doesn't necessarily give a damn about what you do musically, I'm sorry. Even if you break your head in music from now to tomorrow, nothing is going to shift. But we have a father in the Lord and a pastor who has been intentional about music from day one. From day one, he's been invested, in what we do. So, every now and again, he shows up for rehearsal. He's invested. He's asking, "Oh, what's the repertoire?" and all of those things. So it just helps. It helps. It helps us not struggle. And to add to the fact that he's also a phenomenal musician himself. So I don't know if most of you know, he plays the keyboard very well. He has a strong music heritage. So my father is great like that. So if you have that kind of pastor that has that kind of taste bud musically, trust me, it's going to reflect, in the music. The ripple effect is going to show in the music. So I'm grateful to God for the kind of father. He just makes it easy. And beyond that, I find that by the grace of God, over the years, we've had, quote unquote, certain great guys being part of us. There's no need to call names. If you look at Logic Church, you see great guys who are legends in their right musically and in the gospel sector, both in the secular sector and in Logic Church. And it speaks volume of what you sell to them, because you see, creatives, especially music creatives, they want to feel comfortable in a place. They want to be in a place where they can resonate that you speak their language, to some degree. They are comfortable enough they feel comfortable enough for their music or for their craft to thrive. That's the kind of place music creatives want to be most of the time, right? And I dare say, by God's grace, Logic is that place. To be honest, there's some other great churches. If I start calling churches, if I don't call some other churches to look like those other churches are not great, so I will just resist calling some other churches, because honestly, it's not just Logic that has great music. Thank you for agreeing that we do great stuff musically, and I dare say probably we are at the arrowhead of defining what music is. But there are several other churches who are doing great job. I dare say CCI is one of them. CCI is doing a fantastic job, with music, and several other churches as well. CCI is doing a fantastic job as well. So it's not just Logic. We are just adding our 2 cents, to what God is doing. So yeah, this is what it has been so far. Now, in addition to that, I have to say truly that all of the things that you see God help us do in Logic Sound and Logic Church, we don't just wake up. We don't see no phenomenal and excellent music team or choir can be built by chance. It has to be built intentionally, right? No phenomenal and excellent music team will be built by chance. It will be built intentionally. So a lot of work has gone into this. A lot of discipline has gone into this. Discipline to scoring, discipline to showing up, discipline to diligence, and all of those things, right? So a lot of discipline has gone into this, and so by the grace of God, we are reaping the harvest, so to speak, right now. We are reaping the fruits of it, we are reaping the harvest of it. And I dare say this is just the beginning, because honestly, there are several things in store for us this year that we will do as God helps us. And all of you will see as soon, but God has helped us so much. But I think that I cannot attribute the success of Logic Sound to just us. It's primarily God, and of course, secondly, the kind of father in the faith we have. Our father in the faith, Apostle Flourish Peters, is an amazing man. He's invested in the music, he's invested in the people doing the music, because I find that most of the time, what happens is that, many music guys, music creatives, you see that one of the reasons why they've strayed away from church music is that they feel that they are not appreciated. They feel that they are underappreciated. They feel that they are doing so much and getting less. Now, when I say less, I'm not even talking about salary. That could be part of it, but not just salary. There is nothing that beats a musician going to bed knowing that my pastor got me. Do you get what I mean? Now, for starters, there is nobody in Logic Church and Logic Sound who has done an event by the mercy of God and our Father has not shown up, both in physically and in resources. I'm not joking. There's nobody. Look in Logic Church and Logic Sound, everyone who has done it. There's nobody. And so we have that kind of father, so we can go to bed knowing that our papa did for us. So there's a kind of morale boost and confidence that it gives to us to keep flying and keep and then within our capacity, there is nothing we tell our father we need to make this job work that he doesn't provide. If we say, hey, we need not stage, we need XYZ, we need XYZ, he makes sure that we get that done. And so that in itself is a morale booster. That in itself is a morale booster. So these are the things that helps us to thrive, helps us to one of the things I love about my father, he's not afraid to spend the money as long as it is important for the work. He'll put the money on it. So that's the kind of father that we have. And in Logic Church and Logic Sound, hey, we do not compromise excellence at all. We do not compromise excellence at all. For those who know me, and that has now become the template across all expressions. Across all expressions, I made sure that all the music directors, by the grace of God, we do not compromise excellence. Excellence as it concerns scoring the songs right, getting the stems right, getting the backing tracks right, getting the notes right, keyboardists play the chord structure properly, all of these things, route them properly. If you're a musician, even if you are exploring or you are being versatile, the versatility will be within the confines of what the music needs per time. All of these trainings, thorough trainings, are what we give to the guys, and God is just helping us. We're just trying to do our bit, within the body as God helps us. Because honestly, not only us cannot do it. Everyone has to come together to make sure this is done, and that's why I think that this is necessary and important for choir music, for what we do and what we represent. And I need to say this though, that if you've noticed, right, globally, Nigeria is always at a significant point to push the gospel music. Check for many years, at least over the last how many decades, you notice that most of the sounds that will go global comes from Nigeria, right? So as Nigeria, and it pains me because you will notice that choir orientation, choir music is fast deleting. Maybe I don't know if we'll have time to go into that, in the course of this conversation much later. But I think that maybe social media is even doing more harm than good. I like social media. I like the evolving of technology, but most of these TikTok people now feel like if I have something that I just trend on TikTok, that's good to go. So people are forgetting the basics. It's almost difficult for you. You do auditions nowadays, and you're looking for singers, you're looking for musicians, and you are shocked at the quality of what you are hearing. I don't know if anybody agrees with me. You are doing auditions now, you are shocked at the quality. We are fast losing quality singers, quality musicians. You know what I'm talking about, so maybe I'm OG like that. So when I do auditions, I'm looking at them like, what's going on here? Everyone is, I don't want to call some names so it doesn't look like I'm trying to shade. I'm trying to shade. There's no quality anymore, Uncle Tommy. There's no quality anymore. We are fast losing that quality, and it's very disturbing. It's very disturbing because the things that shaped us, people, this new generation are making it look like that is out of fashion. I fear for them. I fear for them, honestly. So I don't know. I hope that maybe in the course of this conversation would go into that. I don't know. Thank you very much. I don't want to talk so much so that
Yeah.
other people can talk. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much, sir. I love the fact that you brought it home by sharing exactly some of the things that you were doing, that has helped you, over the years. And I can attest to a lot of these things because I mean, like I said at the beginning, I was there. I saw how you guys started. I saw the investment put in. I remember a particular Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday or Tuesday. I was at Kairos Hub. At that time when you were still using Kairos Hub, and you guys were about to start midweek service, and I saw the singers and the musicians come like 3 hours or 4 hours before the service starts. And they were trying to rehearse, and I was able. I said, "Can you imagine? Now these guys are going to sing, and they're not just saying, you know what, we'll go up on stage, the Holy Spirit will flow anyhow that it flows, and all of those things." I'm like, this is the culture of excellence, and I'm glad that you shared about these things, that there is a very high standard on excellence. So I'm going to throw the first question to you, Pastor Victor Paul, before I go to Dr. Kastic. So now, you already shared something about the fact that there's a drop in the standard of music, especially the core choir music, starting from, especially the things that many of us grew up with. And I'm sure Dr. K-Sticks can also agree with that. Some of the songs that we grew up with, some of the disciplines that we grew up with, if you try to talk about it right now, people will say, oh, those things are old school, blah blah blah. And it looks like everybody, they are looking for easy songs. I remember watching a video of Donald Lawrence saying that, maybe CCM, in a way, CCM has been a blessing, but probably is also doing some harm, because right now you find out that singers and musicians are listening to the song on their way to service or in their way to rehearsal. And there are some songs you can't score like that. You can't pick up a Donald Lawrence song or a John Pickey song and you're just listening to it on your way to rehearsal. And you find out that MDs will send songs to singers 2 weeks ahead. They have not listened to it, and they are telling you, oh, the song is difficult, but they want to listen to a song that has just 2 lines, 25 minutes of speaking in tongues and all of those things. So I want to ask Pastor Victor, for this is a problem. What do you think can be the solution? There are many singers and many MDs that are listening to this right now, and some of them also believe that the days of scoring technical songs are over. There are some pastors too that probably are contributing to it. They are telling them that, you know what, I want you to give me, I don't want to mention names to you, say, okay, give me this one, a song that has just one line, many, many tongues. And you will find out that some singers will even tell you that, look, can't you see the kind of ministers that are being invited by these pastors in the churches? They don't do technical songs. They just do simple, simple songs. So why are you telling us to begin to learn music with all these technical songs? Do you think it's a fault of the pastors? Do you think time has changed? What do you think we can really do to really force the new generation of singers and musicians to get really serious? Pastor Victor, over to you, sir.
So, um, it's a very tricky question, and I say tricky because I agree. that the sound is evolving. But my challenge is I fear that we would have half-baked music generation if, sorry, I'm not, oh my god, hopefully I don't know how far this will get to. I don't want to be misquoted. So I fear that I love CCM. I mean, it's impossible to have a rich praise and worship session in this generation, in this time, without, infusing CCM, right? However, I fear that this generation, if they grow on CCM, they might be half baked. You see what I mean? So there has to be, that's why I like my church. So every Sunday we do choir special. And so that choir special, in fact, you know, to be able to do CCM, one of the reasons why many people do CCM is, for like Dr. Tommy Tush said, is the easiest route, and people are running away from core technical things like the John Pickeys of this world, the Kirk Franklins, the Donald Lawrence, the Hezekiah Walkers, the Ricky Dillard, the Potter's House Mass Choir when Steve Lawrence was music director, the Marvin Saps, the Fred Hammonds, all of these guys, So the problem, I
Sorry,
think,
sir.
there's
For
a pastor
many
problem.
of us that don't know what CCM is, it's contemporary Christian music. A lot of people don't
Yeah,
understand this
contemporary
slang.
Christian
Yeah.
music. Yeah, contemporary Christian music. So for on the one hand, pastors are causing the problem, and I don't blame the pastors. Because the truth is, at every pastor's call, every pastor wants a praise and worship session where for the praise is big, 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 big. Everybody they turn upside down. For the worship, is so it will be almost difficult for you to introduce proper choir special. But you see, one thing we do in Logic Sound is we ensure that most of these songs are still taught to the people. Because, for instance, if you want to do core BGV, I'm sorry, you can't be a core BGV growing on Maverick City, growing on Bethel Music, growing on Hillsong. No disrespect to them. They are phenomenal. In fact, they have heralded, they've shifted culture with the introduction of CCM and all of that. I love them. They are doing their bidding with the body of Christ. But for instance, BGV, you can't be a core BGV member scoring these people. It's not possible. You can't be a core BGV growing on Maverick, growing on Bethel, growing on Vine Juice. Do you see what I mean? Core PTV, you go chop John Picky, you go chop Ricky Dilla, you go chop Anthony Brown and youth therapy. Anthony Brown and group therapy self, they are new generation, as to quote and unquote, if you know what I mean. OG generation. I'm talking Ricky Dilla, I'm talking, Ty Tribute and GA, Ty Tribute and Greater Anointing, Donald Lawrence and Company, Donald Lawrence and Tri City Singers. See what I mean? Kirk Franklin and Company, Kirk Franklin and all these are the Franklin and New Nation. These are the things that core BGV, which are Smallwood, core BGV. If you want to, then even for the keyboard players, even for keyboard players, you go down score some Kevin Bond, some Jason White, some Trent Phillips, some you would have scored some things. It will showing the robustness and the vastness of your vocabulary on keys. The chord structure will be rich. Now, of course, I understand that you must be able to be intelligent enough to decode times and seasons and know what to give to what. You see what I mean? What to give to what. So you cannot be playing CCM and then you are trying to scatter that with chords, drop two here and there. No, you know what to. So what if you are playing chord, but it just helps you. It helps you. For instance, have you noticed that Dr. Tommy Tush, Uncle Dio, have you noticed that most of the quote and unquote gospel music ministers, let's bring it home, most of the music ministers in our country who quote and unquote do so well are guys who have OG hardcore training. I'll give you at least two examples. Pastor Nathan Abasi, Dusi Oyeko. You
Yes,
can't beat
sir. Yes,
them.
sir.
You can't beat them. What are their trainings? Pastor Nathan Abasi
Same,
is one
sir.
of the finest trumpet players in Africa. I'm not saying Nigeria.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Nigeria. Africa. Pastor Nathan Abasi. As a trumpeter, I'm not talking as a gospel artist, though. As a trumpeter to trumpeter, you will run for your money.
With
Do you
Wole
understand?
Oni and Co.
Tusi Oyeko still plays. Do you understand? Tusi Oyeko still plays the bass every now and again. This is apart from them having a basic knowledge of other instruments. So you can beat that. I, for one, by the mercy of God, I play the keyboard, I play the drum, I play the bass guitar. So the quality of the music you hear in Logic Sound, by the grace of God, is not far-fetched. And then if you trace it to my father in the Lord, he's a phenomenal piano player himself. So these things are not far-fetched, though. That's why, if you notice, when I talked earlier, I said to the large extent, the quality of the music in the choir is to the same degree of the quality of the music taste board of the pastor in charge, of the senior pastor. But that's not where I'm going to. So let's go back to the subject matter. So you see, some of the people who are doing really well in the gospel sector in Nigeria are people who have hardcore foundation. Yes, the fact that their music is simple. Listen to the simplicity of their music. I was listening to Pastor Nathan Abasi's song a while ago, Exalted. Simple music, simple chord progressions. But you would hear the quality of it, the quality of the instrumentation, the quality of the BGV, the quality of the harmony, the quality of the melody, you know, just everything. Of course, the quality of the mix and mastering. It's a total package. You can't beat that. You can't beat that. It's a total package. So if you are here as a worship leader, I get it that to be quote and unquote, especially in these times of seasons, because I know and I understand that, you know, you have to understand times of season. In this day and time, I understand that, you know, to be quote and unquote a trendy or upscale worship praise leader, you have to be one with CCM. I get it. However, I'm saying CCM should not stop your vocabulary of core choir gospel music. It should not take that off. Most of the people you celebrate, even in the music sector, they score like their core gospel, like core. Whilst they're able to know what to do part time with certain genres, but their vocabulary is rich. I don't want to talk too much. Thank you very much. I hope I've been able to bless you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for, you know, for that insightful thing. I'm sure that everybody listening, you'll be able to get the points there, you know, because I mean, I've seen a lot of arguments. In fact, some people have even dragged me online on this matter, you know, talking about the fact that, oh, you are old school, things have changed. And I'm like, you know, there's a foundation. There's a foundation that everybody must have. It doesn't matter what style of music you're doing. You know, one example that also comes to my mind is Midnight Crew. You know, Midnight Crew had, you know, Lara George, Mike Abdul, and all of them. And if you listen to the songs that Midnight Crew did, you will see a blend of the black gospel, blending with Fuji, blending all of those things. You know that these people, their foundation is not just Afrocentric. They have everything all round. You know, if Dr. K-Sticks would, you know, talk now and is talking music, you know that this person did not just hear music, he studied this thing, he understood what he's saying. You know, so please, I want us to get, you know, the lesson in this. So I'm going to give this question to Dr. K-Sticks now. Looking at the time where you were handling, you know, healing streams, you know, Daystar Choir, you know, some of the things that is actually two questions in one, but I don't know how fast you can be able to touch it. So I want us to look at the things you were able to